Hey yo guys, time for me to give you my TNA Turning Point pay-per-view review and my Battle of the Superpowers review, and also there's going to be some more stuff like my thoughts on the current WWE releases and just some other stuff as well. But anyways, let's just get to these reviews here. I'll try to get them done as quickly and as thoroughly as I can. So I'm rather talk about the news since it's been a pretty newsworthy day. But anyways, TNA's Turning Point pay-per-view took place last night from the Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. Gotta say it was a pretty good pay-per-view. I mean, some of it really didn't feel as special, but that's because you have, the same crowd that watches basically every TNA event ever, basically. So really, I thought it was a good show. A lot of matches surprised. A lot of people worked hard. A majority of the card worked real hard. And then there was that weird incident with the Insane Clown Posse and Scott Hall and Corporal Robinson and Too Tough Tony. It was just a weird thing. But anyways, we start the show off. Well, before it anyways, TNA announced that their first pay-per-view of 2009 will be in Charlotte, North Carolina. So at least they continue to make the travel. But anyways, we started out with the X Division match. I always think these are dumb because TNA is going to forget about them in like a week. You're going to remember it this week, and then next week it's going to be completely pointless. This match, it was good, but the crowd wasn't as hot as you'd think it was. It just didn't feel as special, really. I don't know what that dynamic, I don't know why it would have. I mean, there's a lot of good parts in it, especially the parts with Volador Jr. and Jay Lethal. I thought, they had some nice off each other, and that double kip up was nice. I mean, they just worked well together. Really, I really thought Doug Williams did a good job in this match. I really liked when he hit the Chaos Theory there on Jimmy Rave to eliminate him, and when P.D. Williams hit the Canadian Destroyer, I believe it was on Consequences Creed to eliminate him. Very nice. But other than that, I mean, it didn't feel as special, and Eric Young got the win and then cut this, heart-to-heart promo where he kind of took a shot at WWE, saying that they were, not entertainers, they were wrestlers, and yeah, whatever, Eric. It didn't come off right at all. This match was good, but I don't know, it just lacked something. Probably just because due to that crowd element, but it just lacked something, and it's a shame that all the international guys got to go back. Really, I was disappointed with TNA's use of Tanahashi in this match. I mean, he lost on a roll-up. I would have liked it come down to at least Tanahashi being the final four, and same with Volador, since those are some big international working relations and you kind of just jobbed them out pretty hard. But anyways, moving on here. Then we went on to the next match, which was the tag match with Awesome Kong and Raisha Saied versus Taylor, Wilde, and Roxxi. This was, an okay match. Maybe Wilde's best performance so far this year. Nothing to complain about, but pretty uneventful. It was a good match. Taylor Wilde got the win on Saied with the German suplex. I guess it's her finisher, but we need to get a definite better finisher for her, but whatever, it was a fine match. All the ladies worked hard, except Raka Khan. She's just fucking terrible on the outside. She may be the worst female wrestler this year. Anyways, then we move over to the next match, which is pretty interesting here, as we had Rhino versus Shiek Abdul Bashir. We knew the suck, but the story of this match is more what happened in the crowd, as during the match, and by the way, this is technically, a shoot in a way, because Rhino nor Shiek Abdul Bashir did not know that the Insane Clown Posse and Scott Hall were going to be there. TNA Backstage guys knew that they were coming. The TV producers knew they were going to be there. Although apparently they did not know Scott Hall was going to be there, but drabbled in the decision that they may include Scott Hall in the finish of the Kevin Nash Samoa Joe match, which took place on this card. Really weird. I guess and then they decided they weren't going to use it, and so they had Scott Hall out there. People were saying Scott Hall was drunk. I don't think so. He was drinking out of a water bottle, if you ask me. But really completely weird. Rhino and Bashir felt, that the Clown Posse completely took away from their match. A lot of heat is backstage with TNA, I guess, on from guys in TNA on the decision of it. I guess they're just upset that the Insane Clown Posse and Corporal Robinson and Too Tough Tony and Hall just distracted from a match. I mean, at least it distracted from this match, because this match was pretty disappointing. I mean, Shiek Abdul Bashir tried to make it something interesting, but I don't know what's happened to Rhino. He needs some direction badly. He's just lacking. He's just floundering there, and he doesn't cares that much anymore. So, I mean, you may as well just release Rhino. I mean, cut some costs there. And Rhino won with the worst looking gore ever. I mean, Bashir just popped off of it. That was just bad there. Awful match. Worst match of the night. But then anyways, the card here then gets to pick up a little bit as we had the TNA Tag Team Championship match. Beer Money Inc. defending against the Motor City Machine Guns. This was a really good match. I mean, you know, although everyone says that you can put the Guns and any team for like 20 minutes and you'll get a 4-star match. Not the case. You need a real dynamic to get a 4-star match out of anything really. But this was still a good match. I think that the Beer Money team is really hitting their stride here, and you know, when they worked with the Guns really well, really good stuff. There was a innovative Tower of Doom spot. I thought, you know, this was a good match. I just really liked it. It was enjoyable, nothing to complain about. Maybe you can complain that it went a bit too long and it dragged on, and I mean, it could have been maybe, you know, up there with a really, really good match and just, you know, a good match and you won't remember much of it if they just cut maybe, you know, 5 minutes out of it. It just dragged on a smidge too long. But still good match, and the Beer Money got the win after James Storm Spear beer missed into Alex Shelley's eyes, and then they hit the DI on Storm, or on Shelley for the victory. Then we move over to the next match, which is for the TNA Legends Championship, which was Booker T versus Christian Cage. Really, this match was, you know, okay. I mean, nothing we haven't seen from 2005 with these guys. Nothing special, and Booker T gets the win, basically. That's all I really need to say here. Really, I think this is going to be more interesting due to the fact that Christian is believed to be going to the WWE within a couple of months, either maybe late 2008 or early next year. I don't know, but the way he's been booked, and you know, he feels he hasn't been, you know, the star he should be, since, you know, he technically was the first major star to make the jump from WWE to TNA, and you know, he didn't get you know, what he deserved, he feels, and there's talk of him going over to WWE, and WWE's even made mention that they may Tomko again, so it could reunite Tomko and Cage, throw that in with Edge. Got a real nice dynamic there. Don't know what they can do from that, but at the rate you're just going to see Cage probably do some jobs and just flounder around with this rip-off of the LWO here, with him now having to be in the main event Mafia, so we'll see where we go from there. Then we went to the next match, which was match of the night, Kurt Angle versus the Monster Abyss in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Really, I mean, in a match like Kurt Angle just brings the best out of guys, because I think Abyss is maybe the best, one of, if not the best big man going today. I mean, when you don't put him in these stupid situations where he looks like an idiot, cuts these weird promos, and he has to take hardcore spot after hardcore spot, or like too much hardcore spots, and has too many hardcore matches, it hurts him. I mean, these guys worked a smart Falls Count Anywhere match where Angle was just trying to get away from Abyss, and when he got his chances, he would take a shot and work on the knee. Clearly one of the best spots in this match was, you know, the complete execution of the somersault senton from the stage to the floor. I mean, Abyss just caught him perfectly. They obviously must have scouted that spot out during the day, but, you know, as they should, because if Kurt missed, he'd have landed right on his head. We know the history of neck injuries with Kurt Angle, so that'd have been bad. But really good match, and then we went back. You know, Abyss went through the Spanish announce table, but really, at least they went home on a spot like that, when normally, you know, in TNA, they do a spot like that and match go for another 5 minutes, and then the victory happens there. Another thing I liked about this pay-per-view is that in all the main event Mafia's matches, with the exception of the main event, there's no run-ins, which you really wouldn't expect that to be, but there were no run-ins, and it added something really well to this pay-per-view. But anyways, that awesome match, match of the night, as I said, we had the Samoa Joe versus Kevin Nash match. Really, you know what, Nash, that's the best you're going to get out of Nash on, at this stage of the game, with his knees and, you know, just how old and battered he is. I mean, that was maybe the best you're going to, like I said, that's the best we're going to get of Nash. I mean, he even sold for Joe well. I mean, I thought, you know, Nash brought it. Joe, you know, worked well. This was a good match. All in all, it wasn't as good. It was good, but, I mean, the finish hurt it, in my opinion. My only problem with it was the fact that this is not a hardcore or no DQ match or Falls Count Anywhere where, you know, a referee can, you know, just see a spot like hit him with a chair or whatever and not call for the bell. Well, you had Nash hit Joe blatantly with a chair and not call for the bell. I just hate stuff like that. It really pisses me off. And, you know, just blatantly saw Nash take buckle pad right off the corner, and I just didn't like that at all. But still, Nash worked hard and Joe worked well. Maybe, if anything, Joe should have won this match to at least give the young guys hope, but the finish was weak with Nash having to use his feet on the ropes. I didn't like the finish here, but still the match was better than expected. And then we went on to the main event, which was Sting versus AJ Styles for the TNA Heavyweight Championship of the World. You know what? Sting brought it, not as with Joe, but I think Joe and AJ just had a special Joe and Styles had just a special dynamic there for that one match that we're probably going to get of them. You know what? AJ and Sting brought it. They did their best they could there. You know, I like the finish with, you had the main event Mafia run out, and they really didn't even get in the ring, and you had Styles look like he was going to get the momentum, go for the Pele. Styles missed, and Sting Oklahoma rolled him for the victory. The belt. I mean, we knew that Sting wouldn't drop the strap since they're trying to establish this heel stable, and you know, you gotta have all the heels win here. I guess maybe if Nash winning, you know, makes sense. I think the young guys should at least get some hope, considering they kind of got buried verbally with the backstage segments with Jarrett and Foley calling them children. But anyways, that's it for me. Overall, you know, this is a good pay-per-view. Check the replay. Definitely for sure check out Angle. Really strong match. The best match they've had since the first match they had, which was Kurt's first match in TNA. Really strong match here. Really, other than that, good pay-per-view. Moving over to Saturday night's Battle of the Superpowers between Roy Jones Jr. and Joe Calzaghe. Basically, it went how I said it would be, with, you know, Calzaghe taking it to a decision. Calzaghe's type of style is he likes to test it out in the first round, see where things are going. He got dropped against Jones here, and he got dropped against Hopkins. He comes back and dictates the pace and win. Jones basically kind of fought his fight. He even admitted in his interview that he didn't know how he wanted to attack in for the kill, wasn't sure how to do that, and you know, that let Calzaghe recapitalize and use his amount of ability to get great amount of punches in the rounds to score points. Even cuts Jones really badly. I mean, this was a bad cut to get the decision. Maybe both guys' last fights. I don't see this for Jones. I still think Jones still wants one more fight, but I think Calzaghe can retire because he got one of the biggest names in the sport, and you know, he's still undefeated. So you know, and overall it was a pretty good show. I mean, although I was still disappointed with Zab Judah's performance. I don't know what's lacking in Zab. Zab needs to really get it together. I mean, he up against Ernie Johnson, a guy who look extremely well against. He didn't. I mean, something's lacking there with Zab. But anyways, I really want to just talk about some other things quickly here. I want to talk about the WWE releases that have happened over the past weekend a bit. They did 3 more today. They've released Super Crazy, Paul London, Chuck Palumbo, Kenny Dykstra, Kenny Dykstra, Elijah Burke, and now Lena Yada. Really, with Super Crazy, you expect that one we saw coming a mile away. He didn't been used well on TV for a very long time. He'd only appeared on, ECW defeating the upcoming Gavin Spears, and then, you know, getting jobbed out to Big Zeke and the Brian Kendrick on SmackDown. Really expect Super Crazy to move over to either the Mexican independents like IWRG, or maybe even AAA to take part in this angle with Cone. I think he'd be a great asset. The only thing he's got to do is drop a couple pounds, because, you know, him doing nothing in the WWE, he's able to get the pounds going, and he's not looking that good. But I think if he drops at least 10 to 15 pounds, he's going to be set to, you know, maybe take on that old Super Crazy form that we saw in ECW. Or, you know, you could even see Super Crazy in the North American independents up here, so it would be a big thing there. Maybe like an IWA Mid-South. I think IWA Mid-South would book him. Or hell, even Ring of Honor, where he was on the very show against Eddie Guerrero, so we'll see from there. Paul London is definitely the biggest out of the all releases here. Paul London was a guy they didn't like at all ever since last summer. Felt he had a bad attitude. And you know what? Having a bad attitude isn't a good thing there. They feel you do something like that, you're not going to go anywhere. Kind of like at work, if they feel you have a bad attitude and you come up for a review, you're gone. So really expect Paul London to either make Ring of Honor or TNA. I think that's where he would go. I can even see him fitting in with PWG and having some, you know, great matches with TJ Perkins. I just see that being a great dynamic there, but I think for sure he could make some noise in TNA or Ring of Honor. I think Ring of Honor is where I would like to see him go personally, but we'll see where things go. Ring of Honor, you better pick up Paul London. He's going to be an old name to draw on those older fans. The casual fans who liked Paul London, you can go tune in over there. Chuck Palumbo, you know what? Chuck Palumbo fell victim to the draft like he did back in 2003. He has a nice little thing going on SmackDown, gets moved over to Raw, and they forget about him. That's the same thing that happened to him in 2003. Really, what you can expect from Chuck Palumbo is what he's trying to do is go over to CMLL over there in Mexico, because his good friend from the old WC is in the Natural Born Thrillers, Mark Jindrak, is over there as Marco Corleone, and actually has one of the most successful gimmicks going, well, for the ladies' perspective. I know the male fan base hates him, but anyways, really you could see Chuck go over there and, you know, be part of the La Triada del Terror. Well, they just got renamed. I can't remember their full name now. As you know, maybe be the bodyguard there, or, you know, maybe the bodyguard with Mr. Nible, who, you know, they're trying to set up Mr. Nible versus Marco Corleone. I think that would be a nice dynamic there. I don't think Chuck Palumbo is going to be the answer to CMLL prayers like they may hope, but he may go there. Really, then we go to today's releases. Kenny Dykstra, I think, is a big release, as you know. He had a lot of potential. If you've seen him in the Brent Albright CM Punk from OVW, he looked really good. He had a strong thing going on as a heel. And, you know, he's going to be a big loss. I mean, he was the key guy out of the Spirit Squad, and he was even going to be positioned in for a time with Edge and Randy Orton. So we'll see where they go with that. I really, you know, feel they misused him. I mean, ever since he came back from injury or whatever and got buried by Triple H, you could see where things were going. You could see the writing on the wall. With Lena, you know what? Lena got released because they have way too many divas. Yeah, she may be, you know, some way to tell her apart by, you know, being of a Asian American, but they're just bringing in Gail Kim, so she's gonna be, you know, gone. And she didn't want to do that much in-ring stuff. Yeah, she was down in Florida Championship Wrestling over the weekend, but still, they have someone who can do that at least 100 times better coming up. So that's why Lena's gone. I mean, Lena was just an announcer, and they have Eve Torres, who's, you know, got a cuter face and a better pair of tits, so that's why they'll keep her there and send Lena packing. And then really Elijah Burke. Elijah was a guy who really, he was more of a mark for the internet, and he thought too highly of himself, wanted to know what everyone else thought of his work, which really turns people down. And he was, you know, just a friend with one of the guys that was really big, was one of the agents now that got released and a while back, and basically that let Elijah Burke, you know, having to sink or float, and well, he sunk. So that's where you can see it happening there. And I guess the thing with Burke and Dykstra is, you know, there was maybe spots for them on pay-per-views, but, I mean, they'd sometimes just leave and go to restaurants and, you know, have a beer and eat. That's basically what they would do, and that doesn't make you look very well there. Burke, I don't see Burke really, I don't know, I mean, he could maybe show up on wrestling talk shows or something like that, but I don't know where he would go. Maybe another independent like IWA Mid-South, something along those lines, but that's where I see it going. Then we move over, still technically WWE. We last week you had Low Ki work a dark match with the WWE after winning the PWG's Bola. Really, the only thing I thought was extremely fucking interesting was, you know, and Bola, after he wins Bola, he cuts his promo saying that, you know, PWG is real wrestling, not sports entertainment, and yet Tuesday and Monday he's in WWE. Can you expect to see Low Ki in WWE? You know what, if he tones the style down, yes, because with the success of Matt Sydal, aka Evan Bourne, it shows that style works. And you know what, you can bring Low Ki in as probably they'd give him a Quang gimmick, a ninja gimmick, and, you know, feud him up with Evan Bourne. It'd be some good matches, and then I don't know what they would do with Low Ki. He'd probably just flounder in there. I know Kevin Kelly thought a lot of high things back with him around 2001, early 2002, before the start of Ring of Honor. But really, that's basically it there. And finally, let's just go here. Ring of Honor. First two shows with the new management. No real change in the in-ring quality. Yeah, I mean, they've added a 20 count, but you know what? That's fine. I like the 20 count. It makes sense that you have it. I mean, I thought they spent way too much time on the floor, and it hurts, you know, the believability. It's like, come on, way too much time on the floor. There should be countouts. You know, they're booking no finishes. And you know what? No finishes for storyline purposes are fine. The one no finish with I believe in the Kenny King match in Montreal or Toronto, I can't remember, was a asinine. But anyways, other than that, The match quality seems just to be as fine. I mean, now you have Austin Aries and Jerry Lynn taking up the scene backstage to make everyone work hard and get things going. And you know what? There was actually establishment of characters. I mean, yeah, I don't think it'll last long with the Briscoes being heel since they worked, well, Toronto, they worked Steen and Generico, the Canadian babyfaces. Anytime a Canadian's in Canada, they're going to be the major babyface. But I like to see the Briscoes maybe work heels more. And there was just more development with Necro Butcher and the Age of the Fall. And you know what? There's some good matches with, I believe, Tyler Black, Bryan Danielson, and Kenny Omega, which looked like a really strong match from the Toronto show. And, you know, the Montreal show looked like they had a good showing. It was good reviews. I mean, attendance was down for Toronto, which is a thing since Toronto is one of the hot spots of pro wrestling. But anyways, before I end, I'll just say that, you know, the NWA, they start their TV tapings again with the likes of, you know, Brent Albright, NWA champion, Blue Demon, you know, Caden Murdoch there, and, you know, just a bunch of guys going to be there. I don't know if Danielson will be, but you know what, good to see NWA back on TV. I thought their show, the Wrestling Showcase, was a good little show, and, you know, good to see it come back soon. But anyway, that's it for me. I'm out. Peace.